Acorn squash can come in all different colors. The most common are green with orange spots. This variety is called white swan, but all types are delicious when roasted and flavored with maple syrup. After preheating your oven to 425 degrees, remove the stem and butt of the squash and slice it in half lengthwise. With a large spoon, remove the inner core and the seeds, along with any unnecessary stringy bits. Then slice each half into half moons about 1 inch thick. In this recipe, I used 2 medium-sized acorn squash, which would be enough to serve as a side for 4 to 5 people. On a large baking tray, mix the squash pieces around with 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Squash can be dry, so it needs a good amount of oil and or butter. When cooking on a baking tray, the edges get the hottest, so place the biggest pieces of squash around the outside and the smaller ones towards the center. Place it on the top level of the oven, and in the meantime, melt 2 tablespoons of butter and mix in 3 tablespoons of maple syrup and a pinch of salt. Then add a handful of crackers to a bag and give them a light crush. Ideally, these would be Ritz crackers, but any plain buttery cracker will do. Once the squash has been in the oven for about 15 minutes, take them out and give them a flip. Then put them back in the oven for another 15 minutes or until they're golden brown. If after a half hour they're still pale in color, put them under the broiler for a couple minutes because they're best when they have some dark spots. Once they're done, give them a good pinch of salt and pepper. In a medium-sized baking dish, ideally circular in shape, spread a thin layer of the maple butter on the bottom. Then arrange the squash pieces, trying your best to make a circle around the edges with the biggest half moons, and then filling in the gaps with the smaller pieces. It's okay if some of them need to overlap. Brush on the rest of the maple butter over the top of each piece, but if you don't have a brush, just use a spoon. Then sprinkle over the crackers, but try to leave some spots uncovered. Place the dish back in the oven on broil until the crackers are golden and toasty. It should just take about a minute, so make sure to keep an eye on it. Adding a little bit of brown sugar under the crackers wouldn't be a bad idea either. I'd recommend serving these with pork chops or pork tenderloin.